Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the District Training Festival 2020 for District 5030. We are so excited to have you join us. We have about 38 participants right now, and I'm sure there will be more joining us as well. I'm Lisa Edwards from the University District Rotary, and I'll be providing tech support today. We have two distinguished presenters with us, Karma McKay, my Rotary Club sponsor from the University District Rotary, and then also Kay Cook, who's had to log out and will be rejoining us in just a moment. Karma is going to start our session. I did want to let you know that this session is being recorded and you will be able to watch it on the District 5030 webpage as well for future reference. Additionally, you will see on your screen a Q&A bubble down. Most of the time it's down towards the bottom, but it may also be up at the top. And this will enable you to pose questions that you would like to have answered by our presenters at the end of their presentation. There's also a chat box if you'd like to leave comments as well. And so we are going to get started with Karma, and then Kay will be joining us. And I'm going to turn it over to Karma. I will be turning off my video so that you can focus on Karma.
I have to say, Lisa, you're the only person that I can see. And so now I'm talking to a screen, and hopefully the rest of you, of now 43 people, will enjoy some of this. I know that the whole idea of a database is not necessarily the most exciting thing in the world, but especially now during our times, very unusual times, using DACdb to communicate in a lot of different ways can be helpful. So I want to say thank you to those that chose to attend. At the very end, we will be taking whatever questions that you might have, and hopefully we'll have some answers for them. But you can always also send me an email, and our emails will be at the end of this presentation. And we will be sure and address whatever questions you have. We have been thinking about putting together maybe a users group for DACdb, because there are so many questions that come up throughout the year, and that might be a good tool to use, especially during this time, but maybe, you know, on into the future. So let's get started. Most of you have probably seen this, especially if you've sat in on any of the webinars this month. This is the vision of Rotary International. Together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. So DACdb stands for District and Club Database. And you know, Rotary just seems to love having acronyms. So that's what the actual letters stand for. A lot easier to say DACdb. Within our district, we have 3 people that have specialized in learning as much as we can about DACdb. And I have to say, you know, it's constantly changing and there are constant updates that are happening. But Kay Cook is the guru of working behind the scenes and knowing how to get people set up, issues with logins, that kind of thing. And Kay is with the Kent Rotary Club. Becca Palm and her husband are current presidents of the Mercer Island Rotary Club. And Becca has attended several of the weekend workshops that DACdb has put on. And then there's me, who kind of floats around doing a little bit of everything within the district, from writing the newsletter to managing the website and helping with DACdb. So together we make a pretty good team. And I would encourage you to get in touch with any of us, because if we don't know the answer, we'll be sure and get it for you. So in this current presentation, we started out with 3 items and it keeps expanding, so we limited it to the next 8. The first one we're going to cover, and I think it's especially helpful during this time, is committee signups. How to make that easy within the context of, since our clubs can't meet right now, meet in person, we can still do this over online through DACdb and get your club set for this coming year. We'll also be looking at how to create and print a club directory. Again, it's difficult to do right now since we're kind of locked in the house. So there's some tools within DACdb, DACdb to be able to do that. We'll also take a look at RI Compare, and that's syncing DACdb, your membership in there, with Rotary International. A report called 12.5 that Kay will review. How to personalize our icons. Taking a look at the Cog Wheel, which I often forget is in my upper right-hand corner when I log into DACdb. Talking about the hot buttons on the left bar, and then exploring DACdb's help menu. And what I've found is, at least for me, and probably half of you that are out there now of 44 participants, that when we start something new, we tend not to read the instructions. We just jump in and want to do it. So I wanted to spend a little time with the help menu because there are a lot of different functions and videos related to that that can be very, very helpful to you. So when you log into DACdb, it depends on your security level about how many icons you see. And Kay will go over this a little bit later, but the ones that we're going to focus on today, as I mentioned, the help menu, and I've got that circled at the top in red, because I want you to be sure to use it. Also, I've circled RI Compare, the club committees, and reports. That's going to be our focus today. But as you can see, with all of these different icons, there is a lot more to DACdb than just a simple database. So for now, let's focus in on club committees. And simply to get into it, when your screen is up, you will click on club committees, and that will take you to something that looks like this. This is my club, and I've put in all of, different Rotary clubs have different committees, and mine has something like 52 different committees. And that may only be a standing committee of 1, but it also may be a committee of 20. So what I want you to do, there's a couple of things to point out about this screen, is number 1 at the top, it says University District listing org year. And you can change that org year. You want to be sure you've got it in the one that you want to focus on and work on. In this case, I've got it set for 2019-20. You can also, if you click the little arrow drop-down menu, you can change that to last year and see who was on the committee or who was chair, or next year to see who you want to assign. So once you've got that up, then you go over to number 2, which is add committee right here, and you want to click on that. When you click on that, then it gives you the freedom to add a variety of committees. And one of the very helpful tools within this is once these committees are set up, then you can send emails to all of the membership. So this gives especially your chair of that committee, the ability to, send email out to whoever is currently on the committee. And I want to caution you about setting up something on the side. If you go to Outlook, for instance, and you set up your committee there, that's a nice snapshot of that current moment, but it doesn't mean you're going to have people quit or you're going to have people join, and it's very difficult to keep that up to date. So if you do it through DACdb, then you are up to date with whatever the current time is. So what I want to do is now do one more step, and that is, what does it look like within the committee? And so for this situation, I'm going to click on Community Service Committee. And that'll take you to a screen that looks something like this. And within the Community Service Committee, and again, this is my club, Maureen Ewing is the chair, so she shows up at the top along with her little baby. And it shows the members of that committee. And that's what I mean by being able to communicate with your committees this way. In this upper right-hand corner here, it has a P-mail tab, and everybody is checked off here. So you can just send a P-mail to the whole group, and you can tell them you're meeting on, Thursday at 6 o'clock or something. But excuse me, for now, I want to focus in on this button over here where the red arrow is. It says edit. And when you do that, it'll open, you can add in your latest committee members or your chairs. And before we move on to how you communicate with the whole club about signing up for committees, it actually is pretty darn helpful if you get some of this set up ahead of time. And that would be your secretary or your president that can do that, or somebody else in your club who you've designated as the person to get to know DACdb the most. So now you're ready to have your members sign up for their committees. And when you do that, you'll need to send out a P-mail to your membership. This is an example. It doesn't have to, you can say whatever it is you want. If you're a person of few words, you can say, hey, sign up for the committees by clicking here, and leave it at that. Or you can go into more detail. All of these slides, as Lisa said, will be available, I think, on YouTube. But I also will send out this slide deck to all the attendees so that you'll have them in your back pocket. And I'll send it out both in PowerPoint as well as a PDF. So you can copy this if you want. And so at any rate, let's pretend that we've sent out the P-mail, people have gotten it, and they have either clicked on the link that you've embedded there, or they've gone back into DACdb, and they'll again click on club committees, which is this icon right here. And when they click on club committees, this screen will show up, but it'll only show up like the rest of the one I did a couple screens ago that showed all the committee listings. So what they want to do is on this left-hand side, it says committee sign up. When they click on committee sign up, this is the screen that shows up. And all they have to do at this stage is just scroll down, decide what committees they want to join, click on that committee. If they're already on the committee, it'll show that they're already on it. For instance, board of directors, it shows that I'm on the board of directors, which actually I'm not now. I need to change that. So you can resign from the committee by clicking there, or you can become the committee chair. So it's a very simple way to get everybody on, signed up for the committees, but what it'll also do is it'll automatically populate over to that other list I showed you of who's a member on that committee. And then your secretaries, your chairs, your president can look at that and see how filled in it is. Okay. So that's the end of the how to sign up for committees section. I don't know if we have Kay back with us or not. I think we do. I see her name there.
I am here. How do I get my picture?
Turn on your camera, please. Click on that start video, okay? And we're ready for you to take over.
And while Kay is getting herself set up, we've had a little bit of a glitch this morning, so we're waiting for that part. Kay's picture will show up soon. Kay has been involved with Rotary for a lot of years and came on early on when DACdb was created. I think it was Steve Lingenbrink's year as district governor when it was originally set up, when we decided to go with DACdb. Most of our clubs are using DACdb, but not all. There are a few clubs that use Club Runner, and I've used Club Runner a lot and can also be helpful to answering questions for those folks on occasion. But the district decided to go with DACdb, probably, I think it was about 7 years ago. And the really good news about this is that we, as a clubs, don't pay for access to DACdb. That's something that the district pays for. So if you're needing to save money and you happen to be a club runner club, you can actually switch over and there's no cost. Whereas if you're currently in club runner, you pay for that. And there are a lot of, the functions are equal. And I'm looking to see.
I'm not getting my
We're gonna
picture yet.
Okay, Kay, we're probably gonna run out of time. So I would suggest if you can look at the printouts, then Karma, do you have hers to advance?
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and do that. And we're gonna start.
Okay.
We're on the slide, creating a club directory.
Yep.
With DAC
Yeah, I've been following along. Okay, so Karma said I'm the guru. I question that. However, I am the district DACdb trainer, and I love doing it. I love being able to help. So creating a club directory, but oh my gosh, no. Number one cool thing, see all those icons on your desktop? You can move those around. You can drag and drop them. So you can put them in the order that of the things you use most. Most people have club members as their first icon. But you can move these around any way you want. Just grab them and drop them where you want them. The page will adjust. But that's a really cool tip. Also, your security level does affect what icons show. If you need a different security level for a job you're doing, you need to go through your president. I don't change them willy-nilly. So just go through your president to verify that, in fact, you should have that. Okay, so reports. The icon shows a pie chart and graph bars and says reports. So selecting that, next slide. Selecting that, you get a screen that looks this way, and in the left bar, you see it says club reports. We have club reports and district reports. We just want to limit it to club reports, that number one arrow. The rest of the screen is taken up by a list of reports. When you get into reports, there's a ton of them, and they're kind of grouped by function. So we chose membership directory, and now we get this long list of reports under membership directory. I'm going to take slide 1.20, membership directory. When you pick one of those reports, the first thing you get is a parameter screen. And this is allowing you to choose what kind of information you want and who you want to see. So we're going to print a directory. So we're going to want to see this directory to contain the active members that are checked. You'll see active corporate in the first column. The second column has a couple more. But these are the people you want to see in your directory. The rest of the screen you pretty much don't fuss with. And notice, please, at the very top right, you'll see the little teeny icons. The first one, whether you can read it or not, says View. That's going to show you what this report will look like as it stands. You want to look at that, make sure that it has the data you want. You may want to change something. After you have viewed it, you'll probably be sending stuff off to Word. And this is a representation of what you would see. Once it's in Word, even though the original choice said this is pocket size or this is full size, once it's in Word, you have all the capabilities of Word. You can change margins, etc. You'll see on the left side, it shows a picture and a bunch of personal data. On the right side, it shows only the picture and the name. And these are different formats in the directory choices. So where do we go from here? Well, we can see, yep, this is what we want. So we'll send it off to Word, for instance. Now we have a couple of choices. How many people would love to see their club save some money? Well, DACdb is at the rescue. So we can send this directory off to Word. You can have a committee that has already looked at different formats and picked the one that suits your needs. When it's in Word, you can do all kinds of things, all the Word functions of changing margins, etc. After the committee has done all of that work, now they can create a PDF file, email it out to your members. Your members will print it off as they see the need. This is especially good when you're adding members. We all want to be adding members. So you can keep your directory up to date. Now, you can also send that PDF to the printer and have it printed. Nothing against that. A message just came up. It caught my attention, sorry. You can still send it to the printer. The thing is, you get to choose. You get to choose what format. You get to choose how to change it in Word. You get to choose whether to send it out to a printer or email it out to your members. So that's pretty cool. Okay, more stuff. Karma mentioned the little cog wheel. That's the wheel that's going to be at the upper right of your screens. The cog wheel is what lets you do more stuff. In this particular screen, it is showing the different icons. And maybe the icon doesn't show that you want. Like you want reports, you can't find it. Go to the cog wheel and you will be able to drag and drop items from the available icons, that blue bar at the bottom. You can grab one from there and drag it up to the yellow area. And in fact, you can put it wherever you want it to be. So maybe you want it to be first. When you drag and drop, just drag and drop it to the front of that yellow line. Now, Karma doesn't have any available icons because she has all the icons. That is not the case for 90% of the people out there. So pretty cool to know that you can really customize your screen to suit you. So the cog, a neat thing.
And
Okay.
be sure to click on set my configuration. So that
I did forget that. It's a good thing it's circled in red so everyone else can see it.
There you go.
After you've figured out where you want everything and what icons you want and which you don't, you can drag and drop things from the yellow line, you can drop them down to the blue line because you don't want to see them anymore because you never use them. So it goes both ways. Once you've done that, remember anything you do in DACdb, anything you change is going to have an add, a save, an update, or in this case, to save my configuration. So make that screen yours, make it work for you. So the set my configuration is in the lower right of your screen, circled in red so it's obvious to everyone but me when I was talking, and marked number 3. Okay, more cool stuff. RI compare. This is such a useful report. The icon is the gold rotary wheel with 2 facing blue arrows under it. So select RI compare. Once you do that, it'll cycle, depending on the size of your club, for a few seconds. It's not just an immediate flash up there. So take a sip of coffee and then it'll be there. What does RI compare do? It compares what Rotary International has for information to what DACdb has for information. They're not always the same, but it's so easy to get them there. The bottom strip is just pulled out one line that we're going to look at. You can see in the middle, it says name, office, email, fax number, birth date. Those are things that do not show in one or the other. The information for this member is not in sync. We've moved to the left edge of the line and it says compare in blue. So you want to select compare. When you do that, this middle section, number 2, is what you're going to see. Now we've done a little bit of pull out, so it's easier to see. At the very top, it shows what we saw before. We can see that it says we have a discrepancy, as I read before, name, etc. When we go to this middle screen, you'll see some pink stuff down the middle. That pink stuff also shows greater than or lesser than signs. And actually it's arrowheads. We'll think about them as arrowheads. Those pink bars allow us to push and pull data to Rotary International. So let's go down to date of birth. We see there is a difference between what RI has and what DACdb has. Now it's only a few days, but it's wrong. One of those is not correct.
I'm sorry, Kay, either that or it was the longest labor in history.
Yeah, well, I don't want to go there.
Okay.
So the thing is that you're going to select which one is right, and you're either going to push it from Rotary or you're going to pull it from DACdb. Let's move down to the very next line. DACdb has a classification, but RI does not. And so we would just select the push, the arrow that points towards Rotary International. When we select that, we get funeral director up on the RI site. You don't have to go there. It's going to update. When we get all of these things pushed or pulled, now we've done a little pull out again on our friend William Metcalf. And now you see in the middle, there's no more red stuff. It doesn't say name, etc., like it did before. It shows the record truly in sync. between RI and DACdb. Now, why is this cool? Well, because this stuff all matters. Birth date in particular, I want to mention, because we want the year on the birth date for two reasons. The first is you can't join Rotary until you're 18 years old. So if you don't put a birth year in, it will block you from saving the record or having things out of sync. The second reason is there are certain statistical reports that are done, and so the year is important. The birth year is important. And please assure everybody the birth year does not show on 95% of the reports. It has very limited exposure. So if you're uncomfortable about how young you are, just be assured that the year does not show in most cases. I happen to be pretty proud every time I get a birthday. It's whoopee, I made it another year. And I turned 76 this year. I am proud of it, so I'm happy to have my birth date in there. Okay, so that is RI compare. And I think I've gone through my stuff, Karma. Do you have some more cool stuff for us?
Well, I think you've done a good job of covering everything so far, Kay. So let's move on to that famous help menu that I was talking about. The one that, honestly, I used DACdb for quite a long time before I ever even clicked on it. So next up here is the help menu, and if I'm guessing, since I can't see reactions on your faces, that some of you have never looked at this before. So when you're in DACdb, at the very top of the screen, you'll see help, which I've circled there so you can see it on this screen. And one of the things I want to draw your attention to is over here on the left. It says DACdb Quick Start Guides, another one of those things that I didn't read for a very long time, but it's actually really helpful. It's about 40 pages of basic information, and I know that every single person, we're at right now, I think 43 people watching this, has either themselves had had a friend that can't log into DACdb. It's actually not very complicated, and either this quick start guide or this next thing down here in the middle that says FAQs, frequently asked questions, covers that. There's also several other ways to look at this help screen. There's so much information on here. One of the things that I use often is over here on the right, that little search bar. Type in whatever it is you're trying to answer, and quite often the answer will come up, and you can click on it and get specific information related to that. On this left side, this left bar, I just pulled this up so you could see more about what's located there, and would encourage you to look through each of these tabs. Each tab has subsets. And for instance, if you want to understand where it says new calendar, you click on that and all of these subset help items show up. And you click on each one, and oftentimes when people are trying to figure out how to deal with events, for instance, you can click on event registration or event questions, and that will come up. You can tour the calendar, just a variety of options. And I think most importantly here is just to direct you to the help menu, and also know that you've got a team of people behind you that are willing to be helpful. In the middle of that help screen, If you can't find your answer, and I would say, you know, I know Casey always says if you spend 5 minutes on trying to find the answer and haven't found it, then reach out to someone. In whatever case, whether it's reaching out to me or Kay or Becca, or if you want to communicate directly with DACdb, all you have to do is click on this. It says click here to view and submit support tickets. And when you do that, before I move on to that piece, you can call them directly as well. Some people prefer the telephone, and all that information here, you'll reach anybody during working hours at DACdb, and then if on Saturday, for instance, that's the best time to click the support ticket, and you will then create new support ticket. When you push that tab, this next screen shows what will come up. You want to give them a quick summary of what your issue is. The priority level, I remember talking with somebody at DACdb at almost, I think it was 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and I had an urgent request that whatever district governor was in charge at the time, we needed an answer and we needed it yesterday. So I sent them an urgent request, and I got to know the DACdb guys pretty well at that point, because they really did let me know that 11 o'clock on a Friday night wasn't a time they really enjoyed answering DACdb questions urgently. But they were there, they answered our questions, and I've found them to have their turnaround time usually within about 2 hours, 24/7. They're very, very accessible to us. So on that, you put your priority level, urgent or normal, and then you fill it, just send them an email. And be sure at the top right of your menu, once you've done this, you go over here and click save, which I find to be a really confusing word, because it doesn't actually save it in the way that I think it would. It actually submits it to DACdb. So you click that save tab right there, and it'll send it off to DACdb, and then you'll get an email from them. So this is just a picture of one of the conferences Kay, Becca, and I attended a few years ago when we could all meet in person. And these are people from all over the country that come because they're interested and specialize in DACdb, and we spend 3 days together. So we've gotten to know this team really well. And this lower picture gives you a sense of how DACdb functions. This person right here, Mark Landman, is the owner of DACdb, and he's out of Denver, Colorado, along with probably the majority of his team. But there are people spread all over. There's Mike Soden and a variety of other people. Mike is somebody I communicate with a lot. This guy down here with the beard is the webmaster for DACdb, and he is incredible. John Ramon is incredibly helpful. So that's about it. I think we are probably open to questions, unless they're really scary questions and I want to run away. What do you think, Lisa?
I think we have some excellent questions. And so if you have thought of some questions during this presentation, now is a great time to use the Q&A box it'll be at the bottom or top of your screen, 2 little bubbles. Type in your message and press enter for your presentation for your question, to show up. And then we will start going through them right now. Karma and Kay, can we use DACdb for surveys of our members?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a tab in DACdb that I think it says polls. And if you click on polls, you can set that up and send it out to your membership.
Wonderful. Next question. There's a question about club types: guest club, provisional club, and prospect club. Has that been updated, or is that still active?
That's a good question. That's one of those things that I'd have to talk to the DG line about, because I don't actually know what is on docket for next year, as well as what that current piece is, but we could sure find out.
Great. We have a person who's wanting to accomplish the Rotary Citation by the end of June 2020, if I'm caught up on DACdb, it transfers automatically to my Rotary ? Or ? Help ...
So I want to be sure I am understanding. You're wanting to cover all of the tasks in the Rotary Citation?
Correct.
Okay.
By June 2020.
By June 2020. I think actually the best place to go is the My Rotary, which is at the Rotary International website, because that has all of the tasks that you're supposed to do. I'm not sure if I'm on track with what the question is, Lisa. Is that
Well,
correct?
let's see if we can answer this person, Robin. Let's see.
Robin wrote.
Yes, let's see if Robin is available, and I can unmute her right now so everyone else can hear the answer as well. There she is. Robin, are you available? I just unmuted you.
Hi, Robin. It looks like you're still muted on your desk.
Yeah. Robin, are you available to clarify your question?
There you are.
Yes. So the requirements have been lowered on the citation because of the COVID-19. So it's only, achieve at least 3 of the following goals and unite people and take action.
Mm-hmm.
But I went on to My Rotary and it doesn't really match what we've been doing on DACdb. So I was trying to figure out, I kind of thought DACdb kind of did a transfer of information, but I guess not. I have to go into My Rotary and change things.
DACdb transfers.
Somebody say something?
Go ahead, Kay.
DACdb transfers the information on the My Data tab, your personal record. It does not transfer Paul Harris stuff. It doesn't transfer, well, it transfers what's on the My Data tab.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think, Robin, for the citation, as Kay said, for foundation donation information, going directly to the Rotary International website is the best way to go.
Okay. All right. I was just trying to figure out how much.
Yeah.
Go to put it in twice or try to figure out how that's going to happen. Okay. Thank you.
Also, going to My Rotary, for those of you that are presidents out there or presidents-elect, putting your goals in direct, you have to go to My Rotary to do that. And that's something you could spend your time on between now and July 1, so you're set to go.
Great. I'm going to go on to our next question. Please explain PMail.
Email is really cool. It is personalized email. What that means is, for instance, the committee stuff that Karma showed you earlier on, there was the PMail tab. And that means that it will go out to whomever you've selected, a particular committee, for instance. But it will have each person's name on it, their name and their name alone. It won't show the whole committee. So that is personalized email. Now, could you do that outside of DACdb? Of course you could. But then you run into the issue, as Karma pointed out, of maintaining that current list. PMail, personalized email through DACdb.
And you can use it to send an email, PMail, to one person or to, in my case, when I do the district newsletter and I send it out, it'll say dear individual, say dear Robin, but it's going to 2,500 people. And so that's a way to do it in bulk and have that bulk be real time.
There's a question about the presentation being on YouTube. It will be on the District 5030 YouTube page. And so you can easily access it. And as a registered participant, you can also go in. I think you'll get an alert as well. So it will be accessible after we are done today. Next question. How can I add the report ID number to a printed report?
I'm not sure that I fully understand.
Okay.
Outside of the report 12.5,
Susan, are you available? I have unmuted you. Susan? Okay. I think
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
I can't hear you.
We can hear you.
I can't hear you talking at all.
Okay.
Sounds like you can hear me, so I'll go ahead and
Yes.
clarify. When I go in to pull a report up to print out, you have several versions, for example, the membership list. So I never know which one I was working on. And so I'm always having to handwrite it in or in Word add it in. But I would like to know which report I started out with.
That's actually a good point. And Susan, I think it would make sense for us to get a hold of.
I can't hear anything.
Okay. I will write to DACdb and ask them to add that, to add it into their.
I'll watch the recording later.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go on to I typed your answer. We have some more questions. Hal wants to know if there's anybody from the University of Rotary on here, so they can wave their hand if they are. And we have some other questions in our chat we're going to look at as well. Let's see. So let's go over to our chat and see what else we have to answer here. Are there working hours? You said 24/7 for DACdb. Is that still accurate?
It's, what I find with them is they do have their mountain time. And so they're in, 9 to 5 are their basic in-office hours. And I say in-office with quotes because I'm sure everybody's working from home now. And most of the DACdb people work from home year round. They always have somebody on call. And I don't honestly know if there's somebody on call at 2 o'clock in the morning, but at least up until I know I've communicated with them 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. throughout the weekend.
Great.
they used to pretty much be 24/7, 365. They have revised that to their own benefit, mental health wise. They pretty much try not to answer on the weekend. They try to take the weekend off. Now, will you get help if you call in and ask for support? Very likely, because they're kind of like all of us. You see a question you can answer and you do that. But try to be respectful if it's not urgent, to not expect a call back on the weekends. Give them a little break too.
Okay, let's go on. Can we go on to our next?
Yeah, I just saw a chat thing pop up on my screen, Lisa, and I don't know if that's next up in your queue, but Mike Madden wanted to.
We're going to go to the one before, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm trying to scroll through all of them so I don't forget one. We have a question about how many Rotary districts are using DACdbs if it's used only in the U.S.
It is not used only in the U.S. It's all over the world. And I could not tell you how many in the U.S., quite a large number. But it is truly international.
In this country, we've got DACdb and we've got Club Runner, and throughout the world there are some other databases. I'm not familiar with them at all. DACdb and Club Runner are probably split about half and half.
We have a question about when we are in a committee, what stops any member of that committee from making themselves the committee chair?
Well, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
Four-way
One that
test.
I don't honestly know the answer to, but my guess is you're communicating with your president, and it's your president that's asked the committee chair. And if I went in there and I saw that, 3 people had signed up as committee chair, I'd call them and say, we're only going to have one, and remove them.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, the committee chair has a certain security level. The members of the committee, if they haven't been a chair, are at level 1 member. You cannot change somebody that has a higher level than you have.
Okay. We have one more question coming in from Mike. One of his frustration is mail addressed to an individual that is obviously intended for a broad group. Is there a way in Pmail for people to include the addressee list so that we can personalize it and who gets the message?
Well, if Pmail is used, the entire group is blind copied. And so the dear is only you. Now,
That name in the field, the first name.
yes, yeah, dear Karma,
Mm-hmm.
dear Mike. I had a thought. I wonder where it went.
One of the things that I often forget to do, but can be helpful for folks, is at the top or the bottom of your Pmail when you're writing it out, say this is being sent to, and you list the groups that it's going to. Sometimes when I remember it, when I send out the district newsletter, this is being sent to all Rotarians, and then it'll say, Dear Mike. I know that the person who sends the Pmail gets a copy that shows everybody that it went to, all of those email addresses. Okay, I'm not sure if...
We have 2 more questions.
Okay, let's do that.
How many clubs, Kay and Karma, do you have any knowledge of how many clubs are using the engagement module? Is there merit to having a dedicated training session for the engagement module? Is that something people maybe aren't utilizing or know about?
It's not being used very much because people don't understand it. And that is high on my list of getting more information that we can get out so that people understand engagement and attendance. We rolled it out, DACdb rolled it out. In this district, we did not train. And without training, people don't use it. They stay with the attendance module that they're used to. But there will be more in-depth coming.
Okay, well, apparently Kathy Gibson agrees with you and says there's one coming soon.
Okay.
So there you go. Okay, where do I find new member letters for Pmail?
I don't do that. Karma does that more than I do.
Well, for the district, they automatically go out when the secretary signs, puts the information in about a new member and enters that, clicks enter, an automatic email is sent to that new member. We set that up ahead of time. And so I will do it for the next district governor so that Kathy's name shows up instead of Bill's. And I can't remember exactly the name of the file that it's uploaded into, but excuse me, those can be uploaded into DACdb as well as, and I just want to mention, all of your archived information can go into files in DACdb as well. So you can create your archive right there and all of your members can actually go in, see your stuff. I think we're are we running out of time?
We are running out of time, and I think I'm just going to double check to make sure we haven't left anyone else. Did you have a slide that you wanted to share for contact info? I wasn't sure we,
Oh, yeah.
so that our participants can reach you as DACdb gurus and masterminds.
Let me see here. Just a
Both
second.
Karma and
There.
Kay are available. And so if you want to take a screenshot right now, or if you'd like to write this down real quickly, Karma McKay, they have first name, last name at gmail.com, and then Kay Cook, Rotary at jcook.net. So please join me in thanking our amazing presenters today for a very informative webinar. We're so happy you were able to participate. And this will be available once again on YouTube for viewing for other club members. So you're also welcome to share this information. Thank you, Karma and Kay.
You're welcome. And thank
You're
you,
certainly
everybody,
welcome.
for being here.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay.